Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Algerian Youth Voices. Today with us we have something very special program for you today. It's about feminism and Meninism. So we have a first story written by Chopin. It was written back in the old days, so back in 1980 dinosaurs. And then we have another story which is edited and written by amateurs, which are mostly just graduates and postgraduates. So let's start with the first story and see how it turns out.
Chopin, The Story of an Hour. Knowing that Mrs. Mouloudj was affected with heart trouble, great care was taken to break to her as gently as possible the news of her husband's death. It was her sister Josephine who told her.
Louise, I've got something to tell you. Please, sit down.
Sweet grief, sister, what's wrong?
Louise, there was an accident at a train station.
Richard's enters hastily the room.
I just received a telegram. It says that Benkhelil was on a train that had an accident.
Richard recounts them the terrible news.
Louise, if there's anything I can do, please just tell me. Louise?
Louise, still in shock, runs to her room and closes the door behind her.
Louise! Louise!
She sat on an armchair with a cushion above it, facing an open window. Quite motionless, she started processing the news she had heard.
Is he truly gone? The man whom I shared a whole life with and grow old with? Yes, we are finally rid of his power, of his superiority attitude, and his servitude. But I loved him. He was the love of my life, and we have been through so much. Yet, very often we did not. And what does love matter compared to your freedom?
After a brief moment of illumination, Mrs. Mouloudj started to imagine her life without her husband, and her future never seemed as bright as it did then. Finally, she whispered to herself,
"Free, body and soul, free."
She kept whispering. Josephine was kneeling before the closet door with her lips to the keyhole, imploring for admission.
Louise, open the door. I beg, open the door. You'll make yourself ill. What are you doing, Louise? For heaven's sake, open the door.
Go away. I'm not making myself ill.
No. She was drinking in a very elixir of life through that open window. Her fancy was running riot along those days ahead of her, spring days and summer days, all of the sorts of days that would be her own. She breathed a quick prayer that life might be long. It was only yesterday she had thought with a shudder that life might be long. She arose at length and opened the door to her sister's opportunities. There was a feverish triumph in her eyes, and she carried herself like a goddess of victory. As she descended the stairs with her sister, she saw her husband entering, and she collapsed on the floor. When the doctors came, they said she had died of her heart disease, of joy that kills.
Alright, so that was the first part from the old dinosaurs age. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and you can notice that it was only narrated by females, which makes it more of a feminist work. Now let's see the other version of the male perspective.
Coming home from work was always a dull and tiring situation for Mr. Mourad, for he lived far from his home and always had to take the train to get there. He sat in his unusual spot as always, facing the window with his legs crossed and his right shoulder leaned on the side of the train wall and his gripsack and umbrella on his left. On the other side of the grass is a very nostalgic afternoon, and the rain had just stopped, with the sun playing hide and seek with fields of yellow, white and purple flowers scattered on the landscape. The window is practically a medieval painting if it was captured in a moment, and if he only would take a glance at its magnificence. Yet Mr. Mourad was all busy to even notice it. In his hand is a new book which he just bought from the old town's library. Speaking to himself,
Oh, gosh. What happened to me? My marriage, my wife, all the passion we had for each other, the burning desire during our honeymoon. Oh, I can't wait to go home to see my wife. I remember a time when she still knew how to love and how all of that has gone. Routine has eaten up whatever ambitions I had. I can't help but feel bound and chained by marriage. All I'm worried about now is her problem. I know I can protect her from harm, and what would happen if she knew about this affair?
He is quickly pulled from his thought by the train's rattling gear and cogwheels. The train comes to a stop and he gets off altogether. He is nowhere close to home. A few hours later, in his mistress' bed, he is looking at the sculpted pattern of the roof above, and a sudden feeling slowly but surely crept into his soul, and it was anything but nice. As he felt misplaced and cold, he tries to maneuver around what he had done to find an excuse for it, but to no avail.
I feel so cold. Oh, it's getting late. I should really go now.
After a few minutes, he gets to the train station and takes the train home. Yet this time, he notices the different shades of green on the trees and the dark orange flares, the sound of the bird, and even the happily seeming couple seated next to him. Standing in front of his home, he takes his latch key and opens the door.
I'm here again.
Upon entering, Josephine, his wife's sister, screams in piercing tone as if she has seen a ghost.
Louise! My love!
Afterwards, he learns that there had been an accident in one of the train stations and he was listed as one of the victims. When the doctor came, they said she had died of heart disease, of joy that kills. The end.
Alright guys, so those were the two stories we had for you. I hope you took the morale from this story is to everything there are two perspectives. To each story there are two narratives. And to show that no one in this world has it as easy as we think it has. So thank you guys for listening to us. This was the Algerian Youth Voices.